I don't want to make it sound like the whole weekend was just I can't believe I'm watching this crap, but there was plenty, to call WWE on the carpet about. And that's what I'm going to spend a lot of this episode doing. Just fair warning, guys. It's that's what we're here to do. What do you mean your lips are sealed?
Hey, Isaac,
Yo.
it's gonna be a great show tonight.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Since when are your lips sealed about this stuff,
Damn.
sir? Mr. Sir.
This is gonna be fun.
Now with the best friends.
As we return after a week off for the breather of Wrestling Christmas, we are back to. It's kind of like that day, it's going back to work right after the holidays. You're just like, oh, I'm tired, I'm beat. But we got to talk about Christmas because Christmas is awesome. So
Because we're going to leave those decorations up for a couple more weeks.
yeah,
Because I just can't bring myself to schlep the boxes back up from the basement. All that.
Gotta get mileage out of that. But you got to talk about what Santa left us under the tree. Some people got presents, some people got candy, some people got coal. Not Michael, but coal.
Vintage.
God. Well, anyway, welcome to Wrestling with Egos. Now a 3-man unit again. I'm Patrick, joined as I am each and every week by my boy, my best friend in the entire world, Brian, and back by popular demand. And one could even argue, I'm sorry to say it, but black by popular demand. Big Isaac in the house. My boy, what's going on?
What's up, fellas? What's up?
Hey, never let it be said we are not afraid to talk about that, that subject that no one really ever wants to talk about, race. Because you know what?
I will say this too. When you say back by popular demand, that's actually not a line of BS because I got personally some hella good feedback and hella good comments on the show. Thank you to all of our listeners, supporters, subscribers. Keep your comments coming, keep your feedback coming. Make sure you're subscribing and spreading the word. But right. Ladies and gentlemen out there in Wrestling with Egos land, there is a lot to unpack in the world of wrestling.
Real quick, I wanted to kind of finish the statement that I was going to make. We're not afraid to talk about that subject. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when it was, when we broached the subject of Lashley and Sasha and Bianca. By the way, we're going to probably broach those subjects again in the aftermath of WrestleMania tonight. So it's from a diversity perspective, it is very good to not have a panel of 3 white guys tonight. I'm just saying. Diversity, other opinions. Yes. Man, there is so much to talk about. I mean, and so here's what we're going to do. Open it up broad brush. What was your favorite moment of WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday combined? Isaac, I'm going to start with you. Put you on the spot.
Okay, first, I'm happy for Bobby Lashley. I'm happy for Drew. I'm happy for Sasha and Bianca. They tore it up. Mm-hmm. They put it on the map. I didn't like a couple things, but those were the 2 that I was really, really happy for. They got the spotlight. They deserved it, and they tore it down, and they look good doing it. That's all that's what I gotta say about that.
Well, let me ask you this, and because Michael Cole, we rarely give Michael Cole props on this show, but I'm about to. Shocker here. Michael Cole actually, before Sasha and Bianca's match, he said it. He went there And he mentioned the fact that it was the first time two black women had ever competed for a women's championship, and it also just happens to be the main event of WrestleMania. So I'm asking you very broad. I'm asking you to speak not only as a wrestling fan but a black man. Hearing that, just with everything again, with the societal climate as it is, hearing that, what's the feeling? What's the vibe? What's in here when you hear that and you see that, and then those two girls double down and completely wreck crap?
First, I'm going to say it's about damn time. And they should have had this, I want to say, decades ago. There was a lot of people that should have been headlining, especially women in the main event. This is taking way too long, especially two black women, for the title. Being showcased as they were and in the light that they were. And it was about time. And, I think that diversity has been few and far between as we can trickle down what's happened over the past, of our wrestling careers, as we can look back and say there have been this person here or this person here, but there's never been super star other than, I want to say, The Rock, who's been at that level. Sorry I had to say it, Brian, but I mean, it is what it is. To main event or co-headline. There's never been one female that's done that. Right. And there's a lot of people that have never gotten that chance or opportunity.
Because think about this. Before Saturday night, before last Saturday, I think the only black woman to ever be in a championship match of any kind, if I'm not mistaken, was Jazz at 19. Because it was Jazz, Victoria, and Trish for the title.
That sounds accurate.
Miss Jackie.
Jackie never competed for the title at Mania, though.
True. She held that title, though.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely. She did, but we're talking WrestleMania.
Okay. I agree with you on that.
I think Jazz was the only one that actually had that. Real quick, big props to Jazz. Had a title versus career match and Impact against Deonna Purrazzo. Great match. Jazz ends up calling it a career. Talk about somebody that was just bad from the word go. So anyway, moving right along. So that being those being Isaac's big moments. B, favorite moment.
Here we go.
Well, no, you said favorite, so I'm gonna save the juicy stuff for later because I have a feeling we're all gonna get into that soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
I have two moments that stand out to me. The first one, I am here to lay as much praise as I possibly can at the feet of three people in particular. First of all, Bad Bunny, with his work ethic, with his willingness to get in there and mix it up and not just do your typical, okay, I'm going to do one spot and then I'm going to hang out on the apron for the rest of the match. His respect that he has shown to the people in the locker room and the amount of different sets of eyes that he got on the product over the weekend. And props to the Lovebird on this because she was the one that sussed this out before I became aware of this. Miz and Morrison for selling the bejesus out of everything that Bad Bunny did. Because we've said before on this show that you're only as good as your dance partner in the ring.
Right.
We talk about how we want 5-star classics and all these things and our go-to matches that we would put on our Wrestling Mount Rushmore and all that. The common denominator in all these matches is it takes two to tango. Some cases four if it's a tag team match. And Miz and Morrison, I could tell, were taking great pains to make sure that they were working safe, that they were communicating with each other and with Priest and Bunny. And it came off, the match itself, we're not going to talk about the craziness before that with bunnies molting their ears and everything like that. But the match itself was one of the best celebrity matches I've ever seen. We thought Pat McAfee did a great job last year. Bad Bunny blew him out of the water.
I'd like to edit a sentence that you just used. You said one of the best celebrity performances. No, this is the GOAT.
That might be something we should do down the line. Is we should just do an examination of celebrity, appearances and stuff like that. And
I got to be honest, I really don't think that's a good topic, and here's why. Bad Bunny, Pat McAfee, Stephen Amell. That's it.
Yeah, that's okay.
But only three really turned heads. Stephen Amell at that one SummerSlam, Pat McAfee over the last year at in NXT,
Right.
and then Bad Bunny.
That's fair.
I want to point out one thing. Pat McAfee took a Panama Sunrise, Canadian Destroyer, whatever you want to call it, the flip pile driver. He took it. Bad Bunny pulled it off.
Yes, that was great. And I said two moments. There's actually three because the third one just popped into my head.
Okay.
Bianca and Sasha was the second one. And I thought for a fleeting second in the beginning of that match that Bianca was going to crumble under the weight of the moment because she needed 30 seconds to compose herself. And I'm like, oh, honey, please pull it together. Please.
Yeah.
And she did. And those two delivered one hell of a match. One of Heather's sisters actually came over to watch because she's been watching SmackDown a lot more recently because of her TV watching habits. She turned in for the night before that match, and we were eating breakfast the next morning. And I said, you would have been proud of Bianca and Sasha because Sasha did what you've been praying to God somebody would do when they were in the ring with Bianca. And she goes, what, they pulled the braid? I'm like, yes. The braid figured heavily in that match. Apparently you were one of the producers of that match because it went exactly as you thought it would.
Yes. And you thought.
And then the third match that really just, chef's kiss was the triple threat on night 2 with Edge, Daniel Bryan, and Roman Reigns. I could have done without Jey Uso's involvement, but you knew he was going to get involved somehow.
Exactly.
But Roman did exactly what he said he was going to do. At the end of the night, he speared him, he stacked him, and he pinned him.
Yeah. For me, that was one of my favorite moments. Granted, yes, I'm a massive Edge mark. Never going to deny that. But that match, at the end, you realized what the purpose of that match was. And that was to solidify Roman as a monster.
For anyone who hadn't been paying attention for the past 6 months.
By the way, mission accomplished. That match was great. Amazing. I think for me, my other, I agree with all of these matches that we've talked about. I would really be my other moments, but I wanted to come up. I have to say, come up with something else that we were not just all going, oh, I agree with you. I hate that crap.
I could have given you 6 or 7 more, but in the interest of brevity.
Right. So you mentioned the fact of Miz and Morrison selling the hell out of everything Bad Bunny did. The New Day selling everything, selling Omos as just King Kong, just Godzilla, whatever Mothra, whatever monster you want to come up with. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I don't know. But
back in the day with that one.
I know, Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. But the fact that that
Taking
match
it back to 84, you heard?
You heard me?
was written beautifully because it was New Day ganging up on AJ. You even heard Xavier, you heard Woods, on a, from ringside. Yeah, this is tag team wrestling. We're cutting the ring off, AJ. And they played that, and they played that, and it was that cat and mouse the whole way. AJ got closer and closer and closer and closer, and when he tagged Omos, he was the irresistible force and the immovable object. The way the construction of that match was. We talk about storytelling, and when in matches there are, a great story makes a great match. That was a 3-act play, in my opinion, in one match. I thought it was amazing. And also that spinebuster power bomb that he finished. He finished whoever he pinned. Dang! I mean, just got him up and just dump.
And we know Omos is limited, but again, didn't need to. You don't need 85 move arsenal in this kind of a match because you've got 3 other guys
Who can
to
go?
do that for you.
Hey, all we're asking at this point of Omos is just be better than Giant Gonzalez.
Sure.
Just be better than Nia Jax, Ricky Starks.
Sure. And check.
Yeah, okay. Be better than them. We aight. Here we go. What's your biggest disappointment of the whole weekend, Brian? I'm gonna let you go. That way, Isaac and I can just
Clean up the scraps.
Yeah, pretty much.
That too.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Kriego is about to nuke WrestleMania.
I am under no delusions that you put me in these situations that I could do a better job. I like to think I can tell a good story. I'm getting better at it. Anyway, it's your first live event in front of an appreciable amount of fans in at least 15 months. And a lot of these feuds that you have going on are uncontested layups. So what do you do with these uncontested layups? Well, Exhibit A is The Fiend and Randy Orton.
Yep.
Oh, sweet Lord Jesus, what were you doing? It's real simple. If you wanted to get Randy Orton out of The Fiend's orbit, there's a real simple way of doing it. You let The Fiend decisively beat him once and for all in a regular match at WrestleMania. But no, we have to have Alexa Bliss doing the Samson and Delilah thing, because what I will give credit for Bray Wyatt is that he makes chicken salad out of all this chicken hee-hoo that he's been given over the past several months. And I think what we have now, speaking of chicken, is a game of chicken between WWE and Bray Wyatt. Who's going to blink first? I'm going to give you a plate of chicken hee-hoo. How much chicken salad can you make out of it? I fear that even Bray can't make chicken salad out of this. He's trying. He's got Renaissance art tweeted out on Monday morning, and I get it. I didn't understand it. Your heel 401 is not going to help you here, sir. No. What are we going to have? Are we going to have an intergender match between Bray and Alexa?
Challenge accepted.
Fine. Book your way out of this one.
Oh, I can and I will, good sir. Challenge accepted. Bray and Alexa don't have to get in the ring. We now have Alexa as the true darkness, and Bray is truly the face. What's to say that this creepy ass Lily doll doesn't lead to Alexa having a new friend in her playground, namely a certain guy who may or may not have thrown Shane McMahon off the top of a cage on Saturday night. Because Braun Strowman sure as crap ain't doing anything worth a half a damn right now. And guess what? It would make sense because of the history between all parties involved. So one, you have betrayal. Two, the betrayer in Alexa Bliss now gets a new person to truly crush the betrayee that is Bray Wyatt / The Fiend. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you get Randy Orton out of the picture. You keep the dynamic between Alexa and Bray, and you have a new pawn in the game. And Braun Creative really doesn't have anything else for you, Strowman. And if you come at the king, you best not miss. This is all part of the plan. First, I have been telling you this, Brian, and I'm sorry to jump on you about this, but I have been telling you this ever since we first saw Bray Wyatt in that mask. For years, it's all part of the plan. You don't think that sick genius has had almost had a year's worth of material written for this? Vince McMahon doesn't give him chicken crap. He gives him a blank page and says, all right, go. This is all him. He has this idea. And whatever he's doing, I'm not questioning it, because everything Bray Wyatt has done since Wyndham Rotunda started writing all of the Wyatt family stuff, and then this new, and then the new, especially the new Firefly Funhouse and the Fiend stuff. Everything, while it looks at first like it might be stupid, it hasn't been yet. And honestly, we're talking now 3-4 years, and it hasn't been stupid. And by the way, anyone who thinks it is stupid, you don't know what the shit you're watching. I'm sorry, you don't.
Fair play on that. Here's the second thing I had a problem with. I know that apparently you didn't have anything else for her to do. But why, oh why on earth are we going to job Bailey out to the Bella twins?
Don't say their names. Do not say their names.
Fine. You can scrub that from the audio if you want to. Why on earth are we going to do that? This woman was your longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion ever for the balance of 2020. And you just completely forgot about her. And you had a nice little annoying through line where she would, interrupt Michael Cole and interrupt the Hall of Famers, and, Big Kev kind of like, ooh, too sweet. Oh, no, I was just kidding, backstage with all that kind of stuff. I don't understand why we use people that are there now so that the legends, quote unquote, and I use that term very loosely because they're not legends, can have one more moment of glory. Nobody was cheering them for that. And Bailey comes off looking like a chump. And maybe she was happy to do it because maybe she, appreciates what they did for her to pave the way and blah, 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 and all this other stuff, malarkey that you would throw out there. But again, Bailey just comes off looking like a chump. And yes, I'm a Bailey mark, and I'm not afraid to say it, proud to say it. That's what I do on this show. When my people get the shaft, I'm going to let you know about it, and I'm going to let you know that I am displeased. And I am displeased on that.
I'll agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Look, but I'm going to focus more on the fact of why did Bayley not have a match? We spent all of that time with that stupid women's tag team turmoil, and then got that god awful tag team title match. Where the piss was Bayley? Isaac, you have been chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, right there. What say you? Let's bring you back into frame, big man.
Okay. I was really, really upset. Yes, I agree. Bayley should have been used more. I just think right now, and Patrick, I see your big picture thinking with Bray Wyatt and the long term goals there. I see that. Where they're going with Bayley right now, is she gonna have a show like a Rowdy Piper had a show, / Carlito had a show, like / MVP had a show? I don't know. I don't know what the big picture thinking on that was. But you have all these great talented people that you're not using the right way. I don't know if this is all on Vince. I don't know if it's the writers, but we all know that Vince has the final say on mostly everything that happens in that company. But I was really disappointed in the way that they didn't use certain people. Bayley, especially, they had the opportunity. She had the opportunity to do some great work, and they dropped the ball. That's the first thing on that. And, the women's tag team. I want to give credit to, who was it? Not Mandy, but Dana Brooke for as she fell down, she got back up and then made a joke about herself.
That was Mandy.
That was Mandy.
That was Mandy. Sorry, but again, the biggest stage of your career, it really wasn't her fault because it was raining.
Right.
But she played it off like a champ. I give props to her on that. But you have.
And to interject really quick, Isaac, she also got on Twitter on Monday and was making fun of herself before anybody else had the chance to.
That's exactly what I mean. She took it like a champ. But you guys, I keep saying this and I keep thinking in the back of my mind, you're not using the tag team division, both men and women's, in the, how should I say it, on the Raw and SmackDown brands the way that you're using it in NXT. Mm-hmm. And the NXT boys, I'll give them credit. I know we'll talk about this later, but the NXT tag team match was phenomenal, and those put in work. And that's me being nice, but that's what I'm saying. You don't see that on. They're not doing that on Raw. They're not doing that on SmackDown as much. But that's what it is. Right. They dropped the ball on that. They dropped the ball on a lot of people that they're still not using. I guess they're waiting for them to go back to live crowds, all that stuff. But we don't know when that will actually happen.
Let's go ahead.
Talented people doing nothing.
All right. Let's go ahead and skip a couple of topics. That way we can kind of get back on pace. Because we actually, we could probably combine both of these at the same time. Are you surprised by anything, and what stole the show? For me, I can't really say that anything. Actually, here's what surprised me: nothing stole the show. Don't get me wrong. I think the Bad Bunny Priest Miz Morrison match, I think that was great, but for me, stealing the show is a virtual masterpiece in the ring. It's the best match on the card by far. And there wasn't a far and away, yes, this was the best match on the card. Because I can honestly say, Rhea and Asuka was a hell of a match. Sasha Bianca was a hell of a match. Drew Bobby was a hell of a match. Daniel Bryan, Edge, Roman was a hell of a match.
Cesaro and Seth Rollins.
Oh my God, Cesaro and Seth Rollins was a hell of a match. And you can split hairs and try and figure out which one was the better match. But when you have, that's what, 5-6 matches we just discussed right there. Oh, by the way, Sammy and Kevin went at it, and now that one didn't suck either. There, what surprised me was there weren't that many matches that sucked ass.
I agree with that.
Yeah, we're talking about, this is your first WrestleMania in front of a crowd in 12, 13, 14, 15 months. It wasn't this massive blowout show where where Shawn and Taker resurrected their match from WrestleMania 25 or anything. But this was a solid, in my opinion, a solid A- across the board, because there were a lot of really, really good matches, and then some.
And what I like to, yes, I've got beef with a lot of things that went down, but this is the first Mania in God knows how long that hasn't centered around Cena, Triple H, Undertaker, Austin, Lesnar,
Say it.
The Rock, all of those things. So I appreciate the way they're starting to move the needle. They're starting to realize, okay, yes, we have a lot of talented people right now. McIntyre, Lashley, Orton, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Edge. We need to use them, and feature them. All the ladies that we've mentioned. So it's nice to see that at least in this instance, we're not, trying to concoct a scenario where Cena comes back, or trying to concoct a scenario where the Undertaker comes back, etc. So for that, I will give them high marks.
Isaac.
I'm glad that we're moving away from all the people that you mentioned, because they have to evolve. And at the same time, I don't know if I really want to see Brock Lesnar come back, because you have all this great talent that won't get the opportunity,
Right,
because Brock Lesnar's there and he's only there for a big paycheck, once every 4 months.
right.
And a couple of times before those major pay-per-views, that he'll actually show up, at Monday Night Raw or a city. And let's hope that your city is the one that comes up right before one of the big four. And if not, you're not seeing Brock Lesnar. I understand Cena's is phasing himself out, which is great. Congratulations to him and his movie career. Happy for him. Yes, he's a big draw, just like Lesnar, but at the same time, you got all these brand new guys that are in NXT coming up. You got a ton of people who are signed. You're not showcasing. This is your chance to showcase them. This is your chance for them to shine. One of the big things that really made me happy was watching NXT. Was watching when Rhea Ripley came back and Bianca Belair, and the women's
Raquel Gonzalez.
all sharing the ring, and basically saying, we're all champions right now. We all came from NXT. You have the chance and opportunity to do this, and that's exactly what they should do.
We're kind of getting off the rails here in terms of the direction. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on that. But you're kind of getting the direction in which you're taking the conversation is about three subjects down the page, and I'm like, wait, we're not there yet. Time. Don't get ahead of the rest.
Messing up everything. I know.
I know. You're screwing up. Damn it, Isaac.
God damn it.
All right. Real quick, your what do you think was the best and the worst championship decision? Either to keep the title on somebody or to move the title. What was the best and the worst decision? Here's what I say. Best decision, keep the belt on Roman. It would have been a really easy thing to do, to go sentimental and either give it to Daniel Bryan or give it to Edge. But they kept it on Roman, continuing to make Roman look like a freaking monster. Worst decision, taking the title off of Big E. I understand the new Apollo gimmick, the Nigerian royalty. I get it. I don't get him, though. I don't feel him at all.
The only way I disagree with you on that is if they move the title off of Big E because there's bigger things in store for him.
Right.
But we won't know that to be the case until the summer plays out, etc. That being said, I honestly can't think of a title change that I disagree with, or a title retention that I disagree with.
See, real quick. The only reason I'm saying I don't like the idea of taking it off of Big E isn't the fact of taking it off of Big E, because him losing the IC title probably does lead to, going toward more of a main event role, which, damn it, he can totally do. My argument is Apollo.
I see your point on that. I see your point. I still think they should have dropped the belts for the women's tag team. And then, yes, hold on, hear me out. Hear me out for 1 second.
Real quick, my argument was simply, who cares? You either have a crappy team holding it or a crappy team holding it.
I still think they need to break up Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, because Shayna Baszler needs to be a singles competitor. And that's what I was kind of hoping they'd do, so that Shayna could, as we all sit here and hope that there was going to be something that happened on Monday, and hopefully someone coming back, which didn't happen. But, I digress. I was hoping that Shayna would go back to being a singles wrestler. They put the rest of these tag teams together like with Scotch tape and glue at the last second, and it didn't work out. And they don't have anyone that's really putting it down in tag team division, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, and they did have people that were putting it down in the tag team division. They either split them up so they could be amazing singles wrestlers, or they split them up and then released them yesterday. Moving right along. Well, by the way,
the only way that I could have made that, and this is, still, what's the payoff? I would have had Lana and Naomi run the table.
Right.
And then they come out against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and Lana gets the pin. Lana rolls up Nia or something like that.
No, it would have to be Lana getting the pin on Nia. That's the only way you could do that. Anything else is bullshit.
Where Lana and Naomi is just kind of like your phrase you're fond of using, Patrick, death by 1,000 cuts. And then all of a sudden, Nia's just like out somehow. And then Lana rolls into the pin, and there you go. And that would be a show stealer.
Right.
Because of all the crap Lana's had to put up with over the past 6 months.
And that would have been a hell of a pop. That would have been a hell of a pop from the 25,300 and something in attendance.
Yeah.
Same attendance number both nights. So pretty cool. Let's move topics to a show that I enjoyed a little bit more than WrestleMania, and that was NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Favorite match of the 2 nights. Isaac, since you don't have a cup in your hand and you're not consuming beverage, you get to go first.
I'm gonna say Adam Cole and
Kyle O'Reilly.
Kyle O'Reilly. That was probably the best one for me.
I liked it. There's one thing about it I hated. Hated. Their new music sucks.
Yeah,
It's time to grow on you.
No, both of their entrance themes suck ass.
The Undisputed Era is no more, sir.
Oh, I know this, but I was hoping for something that didn't completely blow, and both of them suck. I mean, I would have at least hoped that Adam Cole's music would have sounded something like Something For You, his entrance music when he was in Ring of Honor. Would have had that same tempo, but it was just dumb. Honestly, it sounded like, it sounded like I put something together for them in GarageBand.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to those residual checks for you.
Right. So, okay. So Isaac, continue that, that was your favorite match. I kind of cut you off on that one.
Well, that was my favorite. What else did I like in that match? I'm trying to think.
Well, stay on that match. Though. Talking about 15 matches.
Yeah, no. The whole card was solid.
Oh God, yeah.
Completely solid, and they showed up and showed out, and I was really happy for them.
I've got two matches that stood out for me. Pete Dunne and Kushida for me was beautiful. Pete Dunne, we've talked about this a little bit before too. He has, and I don't know if anybody else in the industry does what Pete Dunne does. You can make a very solid living wrestling that way.
Oh yeah.
Because if you think about the amount of time somebody leaves a joint exposed, leaves an elbow exposed, leaves a hand exposed, an ankle, without even thinking about it. Like Pete was finding ways to just compromise Kushida left and right.
Right.
And that takes a lot of discipline because you can't, and some amateurs not going to go in there and figure that out. Pete has probably honed that over the course of several years, figuring out physiology of the body and why, what ways are your joints supposed to bend and not supposed to bend, and how can you make it look convincing and all that. He will be a future NXT champion because of it. If you put him in the ring with somebody like Karrion Kross, who his Karrion Kross's MO is straight ahead, go, go, go. I'm going to beat the crap out of you. And Pete Dunne probably has a way of exploiting that and using it against him.
Yeah.
So the Pete Dunne Kushida match was awesome. The other match that was awesome, and you probably agree with me on this one, Tommaso Ciampa and Walter just beat the ever-loving brakes off of each other. And it was beautiful, and we will be arguing about it as match of the year later on this year. Guaranteed. So I got two. It's Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, the lights out match, and it's Walter and Tommaso Ciampa from Stand and Deliver so far.
I cannot agree with you anymore on that. This was the point in this show where I was waiting to get to because I was going to get giddy. Tommaso Ciampa and Walter was the match of the entire bleeping week. You can argue so far the match of the entire freaking year. It's them or Britt and Rosa from that St. Patrick's Day bash or whatever it was. My God. We have seen matches where Walter and his opponent beat the living hell out of one another. The Dragunov match from the end of last year. When he beat Pete Dunne for the NXT title a couple of years ago. The match against Tyler Bate. The match against Joe Coffey. He's had some just brutal wars. And then there was Tommaso Ciampa. My
Psycho Killer is back.
My God. I never once thought that the Psycho Killer left. I love Tommaso Ciampa. I wish to God he would reconsider his stance and go to the main roster, because I think I would salivate at the idea of Tommaso Ciampa on SmackDown, because you could give me Ciampa and Daniel Bryan, you would give me Ciampa and Roman. Mother of God. Only in my wildest wrestling fantasies does that happen. But yeah, I am sitting here on this very spot on this couch, watching that match and going, oh my God, how are they standing? And then they ended it with quite possibly the most vile chop I've ever heard come off of Walter's hand in my life. This is coming. Can I tell you guys a quick story about this match? So I worked late, so I was not able to watch it. Watch it live. I ended up watching it Friday afternoon after I got home from work. Hello Nurse hadn't got home from work yet, so I had both of the girls here. The little ones over there playing, and me and the squishy face are sitting here on the couch. She's playing around on her phone, and she is slowly starting to dip her toes into wrestling. Because I watch it, she's exposed to it, so she's kind of interested in it. She really likes watching women's wrestling because, she's a girl. Cool. So we're watching this match, and she's like, how does the little guy have a chance against the big guy? I'm like, because the big guy hits hard and the little guy hits just as hard. And then she starts seeing the chop. She's like, oh my God. So there's that spot where Ciampa's laid out on the table.
Oh God.
And Walter just
my God.
he comes down on the table and just obliterates the decorative cover. And Squish is watching this going, did that just happen? I'm like, yeah, baby girl, that just happened. Oh my God.
Yes, one up right now, because that saw that. I was like, oh my God.
And she went, and he hits people across the chest like that? I'm like,
stay tuned.
I'm like, yeah. She went, how did he not kill someone? I'm like, I don't really have an answer for you, sweetheart. I don't have an answer for you. Just enjoy.
Joy. Yeah.
I watched this girl's eyes get bigger and bigger with with the volume of every strike that you could hear just getting louder and louder and louder. And I don't know whether she was watching, jaw on the floor, and I don't know if it was in amazement or horror.
Right. Are you impressed or are you horrified?
That's the best part.
I know. Just like the match is over, and she looks at me and goes, Patrick, those people are crazy. Those two are crazy. I'm like, yep. All right. I want to throw out one more thing about the whole takeover weekend. We talked about the Cross Balor match, which was great. We talked about Kushida and Pete Dunne. We talked about Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, well deserved. Tommaso Ciampa and Walter, best match of the entire thing. Best moment, in my opinion, of all of wrestling Christmas week, including the aftermath, came on Tuesday night when Raquel Gonzalez is in the ring after she had already had her encounter with Frankie Monet, the artist formerly known as Taya Valkyrie. Out comes your new Raw Women's Champion Rhea Ripley, Raquel's former arch rival in NXT. They do the little belt cheers, and I'm like, all right, that's pretty dope. And then you hear the sound of that.
Yep.
Here comes Bianca, and I'm just like, oh, this is good. This is awesome. So all three of them are in the ring, and then behind them on the screen is a picture of the three of them in their early PC days. And I was just like, okay,
All the feels.
that's dope. That's dope. And then you come to find out that all three of them had a photo shoot backstage with Triple H, and Triple H has this smile on his face like he's just a proud papa, just going.
Awesome.
I was like, now that, Vince, is good shit, pal. All right. Let's get before we switch over to all things not WWE, let's talk about, for some strange reason, April 15th, the last 2 years, has almost kind of been like the Black Monday of WWE, because releases happened. And yesterday there were 10 of them. Some of your highlights: Mickie James, Chelsea Green, both of the Iconics, and Samoa freaking Joe. Pete, I know you're not thrilled with that one because Samoa Joe is one of your favorites. Aside from Joe, Isaac, actually, no, B, I'll start with you. Aside from Joe, is there any of these that you're not particularly thrilled about?
I guess. No, you know what? Screw it. Joe's the only one that sticks in my craw, because there's only so much TV time to go around. And this is that double-edged sword that we wield. Why aren't they using all these people? And which is true, but there's only so much TV time to go around. And I know that Joe hasn't had a lot of luck as far as injuries go and health goes, and your best ability is your availability and all that stuff. But here's the realization I've come to with WWE. This company is profitable, boys and girls. This company could find 13, 14 million, or no, that's probably too high of a number, $3 or $4 million to afford all of these people that they released. They could find a cool $150K contract per year for Mickie James. They could find another $150K per year for Kalisto. They could find $200K a year for Samoa Joe. And it kills me when, the cuts that happened last year, the names escape me at this point, and the cuts that happened this year. Here's what's going to happen. Joe is going to land on his feet somewhere.
Duh.
You think?
Imagine if he renews his passport. Just let me paint a picture for you. Because you thought you knew what I was going to say. Oh, he needs to go to AEW and have a feud with Darby Allin, and yay. No, this man needs to renew that passport so that he can fly across the Pacific to New Japan Professional Wrestling. And I can think of about 6 guys right off the jump that I will make it a point to tune in and watch.
Jesus, yeah, and one of them.
How about Samoa Joe versus Kazuchika Okada? Oh my goodness! How about Samoa Joe versus Tanahashi? Oh my goodness gracious!
How about Samoa Joe versus Jeff Mother Bleeping Cobb?
Yes. How about Joe and Ospreay? Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah,
I mean,
somewhere. I think that's happened somewhere, actually.
and I'm sure it has, because my back catalog is kind of sparse when it comes to this stuff. My point is, Joe needs to make sure he's healthy, and then he needs to hit the ground running wherever he goes, because he's got one good run left in him, I think.
So there's a point I wanted to make about Samoa Joe's release. Do I like it? No, because I wanted him to stay in WWE. Do I understand it? 1,000,000%. And I will make that point with 3 simple. Stunning Steve Austin. Austin had a massive contract with WCW. He was injured for a very long period of time because he tore his tricep and he jacked his elbow off. It did not make sense for WCW, who at that point was still not doing all that great financially. It did not make sense for them to be paying Steve Austin that large of a sum of money to not be wrestling. Just like it does not financially make sense. I don't care how profitable WWE is. You still want to continue to be profitable and not set a precedent of, well, we can lose money here as long as we're not losing money here, and here. No, you want to make money as everywhere you can. That's just good business. It's not what's best for business. It's just good business. Joe was making a good chunk of money to do commentary, to do these little WWE spots where he's interviewing someone sitting on the back of a pickup truck. That's not a return on investment. So, to me, made perfect sense. What also makes perfect sense is in 90 days, Samoa Joe walked his happy ass out into AEW. That's what's going to happen. Do not get me wrong. I would love to see him in New Japan, but it makes instant, perfect sense to bring him into AEW because AEW's been bringing in a lot of guys as we see, and they've all been WWE rejects. And Isaac is so mad that he's walked off the show. I know.
Somebody try to get Big Isac back and see what's going on. We'll keep it rolling.
But here's the thing. All these people that AEW's brought in, Miro, Christian Cage, people like that, those are all guys that are all absolutely great wrestlers, but are not main event worthy right off the jump. Christian Cage is not going to be main event worthy right off the jump. Neither would Miro. Samoa Joe is a name that moves the needle. Samoa Joe would be a guy who could literally show up the first night he's available after his no compete ends, show up on AEW, stare down Kenny Omega, show goes off the air, and everybody's like, oh my God. Exactly. Kenny Omega can't have that stare down with Christian Cage and get that same reaction. He can't have that stare down with Miro and get that same reaction. He can get that same reaction out of Samoa Joe because Samoa Joe has cachet outside of WWE.
And look what happened when Kevin Owens was power bombing the crap out of Sami Zayn that night. I forget which takeover that was, and all of a sudden Joe's music hits, and Kevin Owens looks like he's seen a ghost, which I guess is the whole point.
Right. Samoa Joe is a needle mover. And in my opinion, Samoa Joe would be the best signing AEW could ever do outside of the initial launch of AEW and John Moxley. Well, I would consider John Moxley initial launch. The only person I think that would be a bigger signing for AEW than Samoa Joe would be CM Punk. That'll never happen. But to me, that would be the only name that I would say would get more attention than Joe. Would be Punk. And personally, with their style of wrestling, with the way they conduct themselves, I think Samoa Joe would be a perfect fit in AEW. No, Miro kind of works here. Christian Cage kind of works here. So and so and so and so kind of work here. No, Joe works.
Well, that's Joe's whole thing. You look at the history of all the guys he's had brilliant rivalries with, you know, Kurt Angle, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, you know, Finn Balor. I mean, it's just, you know, he can fit up with he can match up with anybody.
So real quick, I'm gonna quickly, just off the top of my head, I'm gonna run down some of the names that have been released. Tell me where you think they land, just real quick. Joe, AEW.
I'll say New Japan.
AEW.
Either one or both of the Iconics.
Impact.
AEW.
Impact.
Who's Peyton Royce married to? Sean Spears.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's something I've been paying a little bit more attention to. Like for example, I didn't know that Mickey James was married to Nick Aldis until recently.
That was years ago.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was years ago when he was coming up in Impact.
Yeah.
He was married to her.
Yeah.
Okay.
When she was Hardcore Country.
Yeah.
That's when they were married.
Yeah, and Magnus wasn't even a big deal in Impact then. Mickey James, AEW. I mean, I'm sorry, NWA. Mickey James, NWA. It has to be.
Yeah.
Because her husband's a world champ.
There.
Because the NWA prediction, NWA is about to lose Thunder Rosa.
Probably.
Yeah, they are.
They're about to lose Thunder Rosa, especially now that AEW told Ivelisse to get the F out. Real quick, sidebar. She's over here bitching and moaning that another promotion has let her go because she spoke out about mistreatment. Seriously, chick, where there's smoke, there's fire, and she ain't done nothing but cause drama everywhere she goes. She did the same crap in Lucha Underground. Moving right along.
You think Kalisto goes to AAA?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Samurai Del Sol, his former ring name, makes too much sense to go too much sense to not go AAA or CMLL. But if he doesn't go to either one of those, I wouldn't be surprised to see him come to AEW and join forces with Death Triangle.
Can we just stop for a second and talk about another match that might very well get consideration for match of the year before it's all said and done?
Ray Phoenix versus Samurai Del Sol?
Well, no. Ray Phoenix and Pac versus the Young Bucks from this past Wednesday, my God, was a work of art.
Yeah.
It was a work of art. Every time I see Ray Phoenix, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Ray Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's just he does something else that's just like, okay, that shouldn't be possible. I got to rewind 10 seconds and look at it again. It's just
so good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
He creates high art when he's in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
I love watching him. So let's switch gears before we get back into AEW, and let's go across the Pacific, because we have a new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, in Kota Ibushi's first ever defense as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, he lost to Will freaking Ospreay. It's about bleeping time. It is about damn time they put the title on Will Ospreay. Thank you.
Not like he doesn't deserve it.
God, yeah, he's deserved it for years. And I love the promo that he cut. None of you thought the British boy could could dominate the juniors, and I did. None of you thought the British boy could win the best of the Super Juniors, and I did. None of you thought that the British boy could make a change to heavyweight, and I did. I'm just going on and on. I'm like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's so good. I have been a Will Ospreay fan for years. I have thought that he is top 5, one of the best wrestlers on the bleeping planet for years. I'm glad to see this happen. I'm also glad the fact that this probably means that probably in Dominion, we're gonna get Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada for the title.
Thank you.
Shut up and take my money.
I'm signing myself up for that match.
My God, yes.
Cha-ching! Check.
Take money. Take my money. Oh my God in heaven. Anybody else?
Quick New Japan sidebar. Did you guys get the same message I got from Toru Yano? He wants you to buy his DVD.
Oh yeah.
I just want make sure you take care of that because he's awfully persistent. He left me 3 messages this week.
Yeah, he's about as persistent as Billie Kay wanting you to take her headshot and resume.
Please buy my DVD.
Yeah. Over the last couple of weeks, guys, what's been the best thing that you've seen from AEW? I'll go first. The Arcade Anarchy match. Man, that was fun.
That was fun.
Don't get
That
me
was
wrong.
a lot of fun.
Don't get me wrong. The Young Bucks, Ray Phoenix, and Pac was otherworldly. And that was an enjoyable wrestling match. But that Arcade Anarchy was fun. I love the way they kind of themed it. You had the wall where the prize wall. I'm very upset that they didn't actually work actual tickets into it. That would have been freaking hilarious.
The best thing I've seen from AEW is the way that the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle are moving the chess pieces around on each other.
Yes.
You think it's going this way and then it goes that way. I kind of cringed when I saw that Tyson was around to be the special enforcer, but he did actually call it down the middle, like he said he would.
But
until the very end with the numbers game and all of that.
It made sense, and they played up the. He's going to call it down the middle, but he has this really ugly history with Jericho, and then turns out I'm Inner Circle, bitch. Isaac,
and all of this is building towards the blood and guts match, pardon me, which is happening beginning of May.
Yep.
And I forget what the pay-per-view is.
I don't remember. Isaac, you've been awfully quiet, my man.
Okay, I've been loving AEW overall. I've been loving the tag team division. I love what they've been doing with that. That's what I've been missing. I'm gonna be honest, that's what I've been missing from WWE with the tag team division when it comes to Raw and SmackDown, and teams going in there, showing up, showing out, and keep raising the bar each week.
Right.
I really like what they've been doing with that.
I love the fact that AEW, their big thing is they tout the nastiest tag team division in all of professional wrestling.
Yes.
Just like WWE can say, we tout the nastiest women's division in all of professional wrestling.
Yeah. I really like that.
And I love that because that's two things that lost a lot of focus in years past, and in the last few years, those are both on the uptick. WWE doing a heavy focus on their women's evolution, which is beyond an evolution now. It's whatever you want to call it. Amazing. And then AEW having these amazing tag teams, and they keep bringing more in. And it's just it's getting. Remember how I made the point several weeks ago, babe? I don't think Isaac was with us. That I always felt like AEW was like super duper duper top heavy, and then everything else was like, okay, here's the guys that really matter, and then here's a bunch of people that you'll see on AEW Dark. And
They're doing their best to change that, I think.
They are.
With all of their divisions, if you think about it.
But the point I'm going to make is they don't do that with their tag division. It's just, oh, here's another one. Oh, by the way, we found these guys. Here, watch them. You'll like them too. Hey, Patrick, have you ever heard of Bear Country? No, I haven't, AEW. Tell me about Bear Country. No. Just watch. Like, who the F are these guys? Oh, my God, they're fun to watch. I seem to remember we had that same thought on the very first episode of Dynamite. Who the piss is this private party to? Oh my God.
They just beat the Young Bucks.
They just beat the Young Bucks. I mean, oh my God, these guys are good. And guess what? They're good. It's stupid how deep that division is. Just like in WWE, it's stupid how deep that women's division is. I love it.
I mean, I could rattle off 16 tag teams right now that are appointment television.
Tell me,
AEW.
Big man, anything else you want to add?
No, I think I got everything I need to say. I'm happy with AEW. I like what they're doing with it. I'm glad it's something different that I can watch.
Yep.
And I'm getting to see more people that I haven't seen in a while.
Right. One thing, B, I can't remember. Have you gone?
Yes, I have.
One thing I wanted to point out, kind of circling back to that Arcade Anarchy match, the return of Chris Statlander, which was really awesome to see, and I love the fact that she's now kind of seems to be in league with the Best Friends, which is really dope. But when she popped out of that claw machine and then pushed the plexiglass, if you slow that down, Penelope Ford does not get her hands up. She takes that plexiglass right to the mush.
Yes, she did.
She did not get her hands up. It was just, brutal. But, Penelope Ford's a tough chick. She is as tough as she is beautiful. And she's also freaking talented too. So, Impact, real quick. So we're coming up on that Rebellion pay-per-view where we have the main event, title versus title, Impact World Champion Rich Swann versus AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. Impact announced that the play-by-play announcer for that match is going to be freaking Mauro Ranallo.
It's a good shout.
Damn right. All I have to say about that is Mamma Mia. All right. So if you weren't already going to watch that match, does having Mauro calling that match make you go, okay, now I'm in?
Having Mauro narrate me taking the trash out would be... If he's not careful, he's going to drop that bag of bathroom garbage because the way he's carrying that trash can.
And when you put the trash can into the bin, he will make a 90s hip hop reference and it will be amazing.
No diggity. I got to bag it up.
That was good. That was good.
Hey, yo, that girl looks good.
No. 9 times out of 10, when you make a 90s hip hop reference, it's really cheesy. That one was great. Isaac.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm waiting for that match. I'm waiting for it. I'm really waiting for him to call it. Because I miss that. And what happened with Michael Cole and him with the women's tag match where he messed up that count?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a massive botch on him. But you know what? We're not going to talk about Michael Cole. we're going to talk about Michael Cole's worst freaking nightmare come to life. Because,
For the brand.
and we're going to end the show with this. What the hell are they thinking on Friday nights as we, it's 10:51 Eastern, so SmackDown's already off the air. I'm gonna have to go back and watch to see how see what happened. But Michael Cole, well, the commentary teams on Raw and SmackDown both changed. Tom Phillips out as play-by-play guy on Raw, replaced by
Adnan Burke.
Adnan Burke. I was about to say ESPN guy that loves the shit out of movies. Adnan Burke, formerly of ESPN Sports Center, ESPN Radio. He's not bad. And joining him is Corey Graves and Byron Saxton. Great unit. Okay, so who's sitting at the desk beside Michael Cole? The last guy in all of WWE you want to give a live mic to. Pat McAfee. Okay,
it's for the brand. That's here.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to give you three options. Tell me which of the three is scarier with a live mic. Pat McAfee now, Paul Heyman ECW, or me during college football season.
Wait, I'll put one more in there. Anytime they give Brock Lesnar a live mic and you know he's going to drop a bomb on live national TV and they can't stop him.
No,
it's right.
Yeah, but I mean, giving a live mic to Pat, you're putting Pat McAfee on live broadcast, not freaking cable, live broadcast TV with a hot mic. And
I'm still going Heyman on that one. Because Heyman's got all these years of experience to draw on, and he still comes up with Mo more often than not.
Oh, true, especially ECW Heyman. But McAfee might be the scariest thing in all of any kind of sports commentary with a live mic. I mean, that's just like, oh my God, what's about to happen? And and I've been alluding to this all night if you've been watching me. This is what I have to say about Pat McAfee as the new color commentator of Friday Night SmackDown.
All right, TL. I see you.
Get your popcorn ready.
Get your popcorn ready.
I hope against hope that they do not sanitize Pat McAfee. I hope it's just like, hey, Pat, when we go on air, we're going to slip Vince a sleeping pill. We're gonna do whatever we got to do, and then once the old fart's asleep, go.
Goodness.
Yes, I just said we were gonna roofie Vince McMahon.
Who knew that's all it took?
Hey, but that might be, and honestly and truly, Vince probably loves the idea. I hope to God Michael Cole is sitting at that desk terrified of what's about to happen. I hope Michael Cole tonight was sitting at that desk about to piss himself. Like, what is about to happen? Because this guy is nuts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And part of me wonders if they're not doing this to spin him back into a feud with somebody. Now again, I don't know who that would be at this point. No, I just don't know who it would be at this point because I haven't paid much attention to the SmackDown roster.
No,
But-
dude. When Pat McAfee made the announcement today or yesterday on Twitter that this was happening, he talked about how he was grateful for the opportunity and blah, 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 blah. Let's go, now let's get that work in, or let's go to work, baby. Who just lost at TakeOver in a very emphatic way?
Unless Adam Cole's getting the call up and
Who doesn't like Pat McAfee, baby?
that's the first thing I thought of, and I didn't think about Adam Cole coming up, but now that you mentioned that tweet, I mean, it worked well in that on that scale last year. Let's get more eyes on it.
Now, I'm not saying Pat McAfee getting back in the ring, but that could definitely be a good jumping off point.
Yeah.
Because Pat McAfee if Pat McAfee is doing his color commentary as a face and you bring Adam Cole in, there's your instant irritant right there.
That's interesting.
He's the don't choke on it this time, but
get your popcorn ready.
Damn right. Oh my God, I didn't think about that. That's genius. Well, boys, no homework. You have the week off. Brian's doing state testing this week, so he's probably glad about that. By the way, glad to see that you're still sober. He's like,
that's a good thing.
He's like, 5 minutes after the show, I won't be. Promise.
I'm gonna go in the back.
No, hey,
I'm gonna pop the top on a beer.
No,
I'm sure I'll have me a hot dog or two.
Hey, Brian has gone to me and Hello Nurses. Brian and his wife have gone Mexican with me and Hello Nurse to our favorite little spot where tequila flows generously in that place. Brian's probably got about 4 or 5 just poured up right behind him that we don't see. He's going to turn around in his little chair and just go and just start rapid firing them. So, state testing. Anyway, no homework, no bar talk. We're going to go back. And you know what? Next week, we get to go back to kind of sort of normal. Because let's circle back to 2 weeks ago. And Isaac forced us to ask a question of what if? What if Andre beat Hogan? We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about everything cool that happened tonight and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to have fun. It's going to be awesome. And I don't know if Reginald Johnson Eisenman will be able to join us. He was supposed to tonight, but he's also got schoolwork. The man's working a job. Finally, he's back at work. His schedule's permitting. He's also in school, and the man's got more kids than Heath Slater, so his schedule's tenuous at best. So we might be able to drag old Reginald Johnson Eisenman back into the fold next week for that conversation. And if that's the case, fatal 4-way, because Isaac's already on the hook for next week because it was his damn idea anyway.
I'm in. You know what it is.
I'm about to say,
I can't not be in.
Tonight you were asked to join us. Next week you are expected did. Your presence is mandated up on high.
I'm here. I'm in.
The pastor of Pissed Off, the reverend of the rant, commands it.
So let it be written. So let it be done.
And so let it be done, because next Friday night, boys and girls, we going to church.
Oh, this is gonna be fun next week.
Oh, very much so. We're not going to get into anything else because honestly and truly, if we start now, this show is going to end up going another hour and a half, and y'all don't want that, and neither do we. Why? Because one of us on this show is going on about 3.5 hours of sleep, and they're tired. Good night, everybody. For Brian, for Isaac, for the disembodied voice of Reginald Johnson Eisenman, I'm Patrick. This has been Wrestling with Egos, and you know the drill. This is why we love wrestling.
Amen to that.